Saquon Barkley, Giants, they have until Monday, America, to get a long-term deal done. After Monday, he can only play this season on the franchise tag, but here's the problem. He doesn't want to play on the franchise tag. Word on the street, the Giants offered him $13 million a year. He wanted $16 million a year. This is what the reports say. New York Giants offered star running back Saquon $13 a year, $26 over the first 2 years. That's what sources tell Pro Football Talk. But Saquon quote tweeted that simply, cap emoji. Basically, if you don't understand that, if you're older than maybe 39, I'll give James credit.
Oh, there we go. Kids keep you young, you know what I'm saying?
Slick knows what cap means.
Look,
What you talking about, Willis?
Slick, you be asking for way too many explanations in the group chat.
That is not, no.
No, don't sell Slick out like that. It was a very complicated situation.
Slick didn't know what OS stood for. He thought it was of, not
What?
OnlyFans.
No, what?
That's a good thing. I maintain
You didn't
that
know
is a
what
good
OS
thing.
I did not ask that question.
You asked a lot
it
of
had to do with
questions in
baby
the group
mamas.
chat.
Had to do
We're
with baby
not
mamas.
supposed to share
Slick
group
didn't
chat
like-
conversations
That
on
is
this
true.
show.
That is true.
You're going to sanitize the group chat.
You know Slick from the base, so I'm going to have his back. I'm going to try to work my way.
Can't expose. Carve out. We're going to get a jar.
No, I'm saying I got you.
We're going to get a, it's not a swear jar because we can't swear up
It is
here.
a group chat
It's a
jar.
group chat jar. You got to put $1 in it.
You're right. I owe y'all. Okay, Saquon Barkley, to remind you all, he was fourth in the National Football League last year in rushing yards. Saquon Barkley has had over 2,000 yards all-purpose in a season before. That's incredibly hard to do. He is a superstar running back. The problem there is an impasse. Giants, they want Saquon to play on the tag. Saquon, he doesn't want to play on that one-year, $10 million deal. He wants longer-term guarantees.
Yes.
Jay, what side are you on? Whose side are you on?
I'm on Saquon Barkley's side 24/7. He has earned the right to get a new contract. He's earned the right to be one of the highest paid running backs in the National Football League. He's let you know that, hey, man, I'm not trying to reset the market. I just want to get paid for what I think I'm valued at, right? And when you look at some of these running backs that's making some money, right? Obviously, you got Christian McCaffrey up there at $16 million. You got Joe Mixon and those boys around $12 million. Alvin Kamara at $15 million. Let's meet at 14. Like, this is really frustrating to me because we see this happen 24/7. And it's frustrating because why don't people want to pay their star players? I do not understand it. I can understand if you have a star player that is a cancer to the team, you know what I mean, not really good in the locker room and all that, then yes, you have reasons to be like, you know what, man, we don't like how he is in the locker room, so look, we ain't going to guarantee him no long-term contract. Saquon Barkley is a New York Giant and has done it the right way since he has stepped on that field and stepped in that locker room for you. So it's really frustrating when you find ways to pay other guys on the team and you're beating around the bush to pay your superstar players. And if we look at it right now, you're probably talking about $1 to $2 million that they off. Like, you can't take care of your guy for $1 to $2 million and be able to restructure this thing or do it the way that Saquon Barkley is happy to get him in the building. And like Joy said yesterday, y'all not serious about winning then if you cannot get the best player on your football team in the building happy to play some football.
I like that. I like that take a lot. If I had to pick a side, I would say I'm on the Giants side. And the reason I'm on the Giants side is because $10 million is no small fee. The reason I'm on the Giants side is because if Saquon Barkley were to play on the tag this year, worst case scenario, okay, you get tagged again next year. You're talking about $22 million guaranteed over 2 years. The only players making more than that would be Christian McCaffrey. That would be fair. Joe Mixon. I'd be like, oh, I understand
Christian
that.
McCaffrey been healthy his whole career?
He has not at all.
So
He's been all pro. He's been all pro.
Derrick Henry?
He's been all pro. That's hard to do.
Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry leads the league in rushing or active running back.
I'm saying you could put Saquon Barkley's numbers in there, too.
You absolutely
if we want
could.
to.
And that is
but
fair.
I'm just saying you keep bringing up injuries. These other dudes been injured and paid.
That is
Alvin Kamara injured and
I'm
paid.
not saying that is unfair. What I'm saying is Saquon would now be in the conversation with those gentlemen. No. He would be in that dialogue. It's not like Saquon is in a whole nother room. If he is making the same amounts of money as Kamara, as Mixon, as Henry, as McCaffrey, I'd say to myself, you know what? That is fair. It's kind of like, don't let the franchise tag play you, play it instead. We saw Kirk Cousins do it, and if I'm not mistaken, Kirk Cousins has made more money than just about every other player at the position. Dak Prescott was en route to doing it, and he still played the Dallas Cowboys. Different position, I get it, but really what is operative there is, are you going to stay healthy and are you invaluable? So if I have to pick a side, I'm on the Giants side, but $10 million I won't scoff at.
Yeah, well,
Giants side.
here's the thing.
Come on, G.
Christian McCaffrey has been injured, but timing is everything. Christian McCaffrey was healthy through his first 3 years, played all 16 games, had 2,000 total yards, 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards receiving. And then he signed the deal that he got. Saquon only got 2 years in of healthy, 16 and 13 games, and then broke down. So he didn't get the opportunity for them to invest in him in the same way. So the problem that I have is not that I don't want to see Saquon, because to James' point, like, he's done everything right. He is the heart of why your team goes offensively. But am I going to invest in that at Christian McCaffrey level money? What I don't know is, I'm hearing that we've gotten two things. He wants Christian McCaffrey money. They're offering $13 million, right?
He said both of them cap.
Okay, so what's the truth? I don't know what the truth is, right?
14 million.
What?
14 million in that ballpark.
If that's the case and then the Giants don't do that, then I would say, look, for $14 million, that seems reasonable to get this done, right? I just don't know. So based on what I know or what has been reported, I can't pay him Christian McCaffrey money, because he may not be trying to reset the market, but the market seems to be being reset for running backs now. We are seeing less being invested in that.
And I know Joy has to go, but that's not Saquon Barkley's fault. Saquon Barkley is the next man up, right? These quarterbacks, is Kyler Murray the best quarterback in the National Football League? He was the next quarterback up to break the bank. Who's next after him? Lamar Jackson. Who's going to be next after him? Joe Burrow, right? He's next. So even with what Christian McCaffrey got, with what Saquon Barkley has done, dang, there's the same stuff that Christian McCaffrey done, but he's just the next guy. And you got to pay him like that, and that's all he's saying.
The Giants are 42-71-1 since 2016. They are 28-53 since 2018. I don't care what the Giants have to say about anything. This is why I'm very picky with praise of organizations. Now, the Giants have had their moments of success, of course, but it ain't been recent, not even kind of recent. So if I'm going to refer to or default to, now this organization knows what they're doing, you're going to have to put together a string of a few more years than one 9-win season and then jump to pay Daniel Jones, which, by the way, you messed that up too, which is why you had to pay him so much. So cry me a river about that as well. That was your fault that you had to pay Daniel Jones that. You could have done that deal earlier, and you know why you didn't? Because Daniel Jones wasn't that good. So now you're in a situation where the best player, not just the best player on your team, the only reason we have said the New York Football Giants in the past 4 years is Saquon Barkley. The only person that we talk about on that roster for the last 4 years has been Saquon Barkley. Now, look, I don't believe in loyalty when it comes to professional sports, but I do believe in strategy, right? I do believe in commitment. And Saquon just came off of a great year. If we're arguing for this with Saquon and he had a great year the year before and was injured, okay, we can entertain that. But he's come off of a year where he's not only healthy to the top of the league, but also with our eyeballs, we watched him win those games.
You should look at Acho when you say those last couple of parts. He's healthy.
I know I'm preaching to the choir with you, James. I'm just saying, I don't see how you could be this far apart with your best player. I don't like when organizations act shocked. Oh, my God, it's time to pay Saquon Barkley? I missed that. Did it go to my spam? I missed that memo that this was coming up. Plan for this. Strategize for this. This is a player that wins you games. If you want to play around with this type of player's money, that sends a message to me throughout the organization, because you can't be that far apart on this money. Saquon's the next man up. All those other guys, as you mentioned, have been injured. Running backs get injured. And I understand that there's a certain market for running backs that's been flexible and gone down over the years, and we value them and we don't value them. But Saquon Barkley is Saquon. We're not talking about some guy who had some breakout year. So I just don't understand how you can be this far apart on the money. Spread it out so that the guaranteed money is reasonable. You can give him a longer deal with the guaranteed money up front, restructure other people's contracts. It's just, I can't default to trusting the Giants. What am I trusting the Giants for?
Can we default to this? Because I think this is fair. I can default at minimum to trusting Brian Daboll, 2022 Coach of the Year. It's hard to do. It's a lot of
He
coaches.
did it for
a lot
1
of brilliant
year.
minds. He did it for 1 year. We also saw what he did with Josh Allen. And he did that for a couple years. We can scoff at that, we can laugh at that, we can ha-ha and kiki at that if we want to, but we can also look at the numbers.
I have a lot of respect for Brian Daboll.
So, Brian Daboll was not a part of not picking up Saquon Barkley's fifth-year option.
Nor was the
Brian
GM.
Daboll was not a part of not picking up Daniel Jones' fifth-year option. Brian Daboll was a part of Daniel Jones having the best season of his career, and Brian Daboll was a part. He was not maybe the main part. We can argue everything, but he was a part of Saquon Barkley having his best year since 2019. A part of it. Oh, he wasn't a part of it at all.
Saquon was Saquon before, and
course,
at that position, like I have a lot of respect for Brian Daboll. He did a great job. But you can put the Daniel Jones thing with Brian Daboll. I don't want to hear it.
But you better believe Brian Daboll had a lot of say-so in bringing back Daniel Jones.
No doubt, I agree.
So where's the say-so for 26?
Because my thought is this, and again, I said he was a part of Saquon Barkley's success. He clearly was a part of Saquon Barkley's success. Where is the say-so is it's $10 million.
Who was a part of Saquon Barkley's success?
Brian Daboll.
He put the 30th ranked offensive line in front of Saquon.
Okay, so if you put the 30th ranked offensive line together and you know you can still scheme up and help scheme up 1,300 yards for an individual, that's doing something. Because you know schematically, and we talked about it off camera, if you can scheme up something and allow Daniel Jones to rush for 750 yards, you're doing something right.
I know you are a football mind and you my dog. Did you see some of them runs Saquon Barkley made this season on the football field?
I saw the run.
It had nothing to do with scheme. It had nothing to do with blocking.
That's objectively false.
It had everything to do with Saquon, and Saquon made this team and offense better.
Here's why that is objectively false. I have to watch and rewatch the Minnesota Vikings game versus the New York Giants in the playoffs in preparation for watching the Eagles play the Giants. And schematically, Saquon Barkley's long touchdown run was a pleasure of scheme. Eric Kendricks, Jordan Hicks, the linebackers for the Vikings were like, zoom, 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 zoom.
And
Saquon going to the end zone.
So I went to a couple Giants games, especially the one in London. And I seen a lot of schemes that they was running, too. A couple of the schemes, the quarterback was on the sideline. The 26 was that quarterback. That was a scheme, right? I don't know too many people that's going to take their quarterback off the field. But what I'm getting to is 26 is your best player. You cannot scheme like that if 26 is not there. We talked about it yesterday. When 26 is there off the bus, we got to stop him. Not stop Daniel Jones. Not stop the receivers that's out there. We have to stop 26.
Here's what
he was able to scheme because he had a guy like 26.
The only thing I will say is Brian Daboll has enough of a sample size in my mind as an OC, as an HC, as an offensive mind for me to trust.
He got a big sample size, too, to give him his bread.
He does. He does, but, I will default to, if I can trust somebody, I will trust Brian Daboll. Giants, no. But Daboll, have no choice. Have no choice.
Hey, y'all apologize for Acho, man. I know he sound like he ain't our brother. He didn't strap on a helmet and come on the field back in with the organization. But I'm with you. I feel where you're coming from.
Businessman, sir. I'm a businessman. Coming up, it is World Cup season, and we cannot wait. Allie Wagner will join us to talk about all of the things leading up to the FIFA Women's World Cup. That is next on Speak.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.